What's going on? Welcome to Fire for Effect Live, 22 March 2023. We're back 2 weeks in a row. I know, it's a miracle. We're going to talk about food tonight. Why? I haven't eaten in a week. Put my dog down 9 days ago, as everybody knows. This is not a sad story. Got his ashes back tonight. Then we had St. Patrick's Day, and I'll get into this with the boys here in a second, but I don't do well eating hungover. I'm not that guy that runs out to McDonald's. Also, we recently finished the Fire for Effect, the Flying Kitchen episode 2, which was live on location at Namaste India restaurant in North Edmonton. And if you want to check that out, go to my YouTube channel and check it out. It's not a cinematic masterpiece by any stretch, but the story is funny. It's a short one. It's like 12 minutes. And yeah, check it out. Let's bring the boys in and we'll get into her here. Mr. Bryce Hooper, Mr. Morgan Warren, and our special guest from the Lynn's Report and host of the upcoming Get Sauced podcast that I'm very excited to get into tonight, Mr. Ryan Lindley. What's going on, gents?
Not much, pal. How are you?
Ryan's on his 7th podcast of the day. Fuck. Every time I look at my fucking phone, Ryan's on YouTube. I'm like, don't you have a job, man?
Actually, it's funny you bring that up. I am officially unemployed as of today.
Again?
For now, yeah.
Okay. Is that by design?
Yeah, it's by design. It's okay.
All right.
Yeah. It's nice. It's a good feeling.
So you got time to do all this shit. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. What do you say to somebody? Yeah, I'm unemployed again. I'm like, yeah.
I during the exit meeting today, I actually asked them, should I flip the table to make it like official? Like I was mad. Can you guys escort me to the car or something?
Somebody call security for me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Can we at least do this like ceremoniously? Yeah, it was good. It was fun.
So you're good though? You're happy?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everything's
good. I can't, and I think most of the guys on this show can attest to this. We can't fucking work where we're not happy anymore. Look at all the people that are jumping in now that we've got multiple feeds. It's a fucking technological.
That's what happens when you bring the guy from the network on.
Right? Bring the network guy on who knows what he's doing. Yeah, let's talk food.
I'm in.
I know you're in. It's a bridge thing. It's a bridge thing between trying to get the Flying Kitchen back up and running, and because I did like one and then parked it for like 8 months.
Yeah.
And then getting re-inspired by what you got coming up. So I actually want to lead with that, Ryan. And then we'll get into what Army guys eat in the field, on the base, at home, and we'll just talk food.
Sure.
So let's jump in. It's a big secret, I know. And everybody that's watching this probably or already knows already that Ryan's got a new project coming up. It's called Getting Sauced with Ryan Lindley. And you're kind of like opener is the April 1st, 2nd weekend with some kind of food truck thing.
Yeah, April 1st and 2nd in Toronto, the famous Cheese Boutique at 45 Ripley Avenue. We're taking over their food truck. So they did a thing. They started doing it during COVID where they had bought a food truck to go to events and do things on the street. COVID it was right at just before COVID hit. And then they realized that they also act as like a grocery store in their neighborhood. So why not do something? People can't go out to their restaurants. They can't go have their favorite dishes. And Toronto is like a food mecca in Ontario, right? Like
yeah. I mean, I fucking hate Toronto as somebody from Edmonton.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
I'm from Hamilton and I hate them too. But
there you go. But the food scene is unprecedented.
Second to none.
In this country. It's really unbelievable. So that's wicked, man.
Well, I've always said about Toronto food, like the Toronto food scene is like in Hamilton, it's like it's 2 a.m. What the fuck are we gonna eat? Whereas in Toronto, it's 2 a.m. What do you fucking want to eat?
Yeah, where are we gonna go?
We have too many options, right? So
yeah, everything's just around the corner.
Yeah. It's not AAA donair or pizza. It's
exactly. So what they did was they opened their food truck up for takeovers every weekend to local restaurants, to local chefs, to people that were working, and said, "Hey, here's the truck. Take it, promote it, and do your thing, and people will come and eat your food out of the truck, right? So, and sure enough, it exploded. Like you should see
Oh,
this place on like a good weather weekend. It's madness on Ripley Avenue, and it's a really unique situation in Toronto that they have. They have the whole street technically, which is very unheard of in Toronto. Imagine the real estate value, right? But they've been there for years and years, so they have the room to make it almost like a festival marketplace atmosphere.
Do they block it off? Like I knew they do that on
No,
St. Catharines in
they
Montreal.
don't need to.
Okay.
You'll end up doing that when you're there. Like people are, you can't geographically speaking in that part of the city. If you actually like street view Ripley Avenue, if you've never been, street view it. It's one of the most unique neighborhoods in Toronto. It's just close to Lakeshore. It's curvy. It's got a hill. Like it's one of those you couldn't go speeding through that place if you tried. So street traffic is easy to handle. So April 1st and 2nd, we at Crier Media are taking it over. It's the launch of the Getting Sauce podcast. So it's kind of going under my banner along with Crier Media, doing all of the we're gonna start the show that way as well. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to do a podcast kind of in the style and in the spirit of Anthony Bourdain, where you could turn. I used to love that you could turn Anthony Bourdain's show. It didn't matter which one it was. You could turn it on, close your eyes, and you could smell the food. You could taste the food. The way he wove that
Yeah.
story was that's my wheelhouse. I love to write, right? And I like to do content, and I also like to cook. So I'm like, shit, this is my jam. This is what I should be doing. Fuck chasing COVID stories and political bullshit. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of politics.
Not that we don't need that for those of you from Crier watching.
Yeah, you guys do your thing. Hey,
Do your
fill
thing,
your
man.
boots, kids. I don't
Yeah.
care. I
Do whatever
just
the fuck
am.
you want.
Yeah, I'm not doing it anymore, and
I
because
agree.
I just you get burnt out. Like I've done 3 years of straight divisive vitriol politics protests. Fuck, it's grating on you, right? So I'm like, fuck it. I love doing what I do. I don't want to hate doing what I do. So back to food, back to basics. Let's get cooking again. I was doing this before COVID hit. I had ambassadorships with Weber. I had ambassadorships with Oklahoma Joe Smokers. Uniflame was a sponsor, and it all went away because of COVID. I can get it back. Let's get it back. Let's do it now with the backing of this network, right? So that's what we're gonna do.
So what's the and I'm happy for you. I really am to be able to chase what you do and get joy from it versus getting caught in that cycle where you're and I know Ray Rout's watching this and he if you haven't seen Ray's shit, you should check it out because it's fucking captivating.
Yeah.
Not just his sports stuff, all the job skills stuff that he does. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, he's a
And
fantastic content creator.
he did the same thing. He wasn't necessarily he didn't hate the direction he was going in, but to draw a parallel, he wanted to do something he loved, and it's like you're doing the same thing. I want to go back to something I love that I'm motivated and enjoy doing, and I had the same kind of day doing fast edits to get that thing out. I'm like, okay, fuck, I'm pumped again. I want to do this stuff, and I was kind of amped about doing this and having you on tonight to talk something near and dear to my heart, which is food. So I'm really happy for you, buddy, that you're getting this going. So let's get into the premise and kind of what the formula for this pod's going to look like and how you're going to start it with the we'll call it the grand opening or premiere or whatever at this food truck at the Cheese Boutique. And if you haven't seen the episode Ryan did down at the Cheese Boutique, you can get it on the Crier Media YouTube page.
Yeah.
It's a fucking amazing place. And I was hoping to be coming out there for that weekend. I can't see it happening right now.
Shit.
Don't know
We were
yet.
hoping. Okay.
Don't know yet. I got to look into flights. The flights I picked were like, oh, that leaves at midnight and gets in there at 6 a.m. I'm not so sure about that, but I am going to look into it. I still want to do it. I still want to bring all my gear
We'd
out.
love to have you. And having somebody with your caliber to shoot it would be a lot of fun for the premiere anyway.
The lessons learned I will apply from the Niagara thing. But anyway, all that shit aside, we'll work that out offline. Tell me
sure.
what your approach is going to be to getting sauced. like what you want to do that weekend and what you want to do for your follow-on episodes.
So I'm no chef, and I'm very clear on that when I tell people stop ISOing me, please. I get so uncomfortable when I'm ISO'd like this, and he leaves it there anyway. I hate
Exceptional cook though.
I hate saying that. I hate the word chef when somebody like they were promoting this. I'm like, please stop calling me a chef because I'm not a chef. So what I did was I wrangled my brother-in-law, Chris, who is an actual Red Seal chef, and I'm bringing him for clout, and he's going to help direct the actual food portion of this because there's food and there's content, right? So the food itself is going to be great. I want to. This is just pretty much like a promotional. Let's kick this podcast off. But the actual show itself is going to be me showing up at your place, be it a restaurant, be it a butcher shop, be it a food processing plant, and I want your story. I want you to tell me. I want you to take me through exactly what you do. So I put a call for action out on Instagram not that long ago, maybe like 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah.
As I started, because rebranding is a real pain in the ass when you're doing this on your own and you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Right.
So I've been doing a lot of rebranding and trying to get everything set up. And I thought I'm going to put a thing out saying, attention Ontario restaurants, we're doing this show. If you're interested, hit me up. And I thought, might get a couple, because a couple of restaurants of people that I actually know and bakeries and stuff that are friends of mine are on there. And I just figure I'll test the waters that way. My inbox was full the next day, from smokehouses to a place in St. Lawrence Market in Toronto, which is one of the most historic places in the country when it comes to a marketplace. And it's a butcher shop that's been around for 1,000 years. It's one of those, everybody's excited for the idea because it's a gap that we don't have in this country. When people watch, like you sit and you watch No Reservations or you watch Parts Unknown, you get excited when you saw Bourdain show up in Canada somewhere.
Yeah.
And he went to Montreal or he went to Toronto and he did
We
those.
only had that. What the hell was that show called?
The Layover?
No. It was a Canadian show.
Oh.
It was some goofy guy with glasses, and he ran around. And he tried to emulate Guy Fieri or
yeah.
Bourdain.
I know. Like the diners, drive-ins, and dives.
It was a Triple D Canadian knockoff. I'm gapping. I can't remember the name of it. It was okay.
You got to eat here.
You got to eat here.
Yeah.
I'm not getting on the show.
No, great show, but that was more of a light-hearted, quick in and out. Like a smash and grab kind of format.
Yeah. You kind of want to get deeper, right?
I want to slow it down. I want you to take me through a process. Why is your restaurant famous? What is it that people come here for? I want the cinematography of it. I want those long shots. I want those beautiful bokeh backgrounds with voiceover, like some witty voiceover and banter talking about what's going on in the restaurant. And then I want to talk about the story of the people that are behind it, including the food. The food will be a big part of it, don't get me wrong, but I want the story behind where do you get your balls putting it all on the line, opening up your door saying, please come support me and pay my bills. I want to know that story, and because I don't have the balls to do it.
So very Bourdain-esque.
Very, yeah.
And there's nothing. How could you not want to fucking emulate what the late great Anthony Bourdain did? I still on my free TV,
which I love, by the way. I have too now.
Good, still working.
Thanks to you.
There's you can still watch No Reservations, The Layover. They show up on the cooking channel, and even though I've seen it 100 times, I feel like I'm learning something new every time I watch an episode, even if I've seen it a couple times.
Yep.
So I get your drive to want to capture that and slow it down and not hit 5 things in one pod. Focus on one, get the whole story, the community around it, and the whole story from start to finish. How did you get here? All that stuff. I think I envy your what you're doing. Unfortunately, I don't think I have enough. Well, maybe.
I wish we weren't in the same province, because this is something I would totally, because you have the same passion for food I do.
I do.
You have the same, actually, if not more, passion for content creation than I do. It would have been a great match, and it's just a matter of the kilometers in between, which kind of sucks. But who knows? Maybe one day if this thing kicks off and takes off, we can We can have a budget to
Have
build
some.
a
We're just
traveling
looking
road
for
show of
budget.
idiots.
We just need some sponsors, right?
That's
I,
right.
I don't show my pill on screen anymore until they fucking sponsor me. So it's in a glass.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the story. That's what's going on. So, but for now, April 1st and 2nd, 45 Ripley Avenue in Toronto. Make it down there. We're gonna feed you. We've got a Toronto staple, which is a pea meal bacon slider, which is we call it the Hogtown slider, with a maple horseradish mustard sauce on a. Cheese Boutique has their own bakery, which is really cool. So they're gonna make Kaisers for us that morning, and brioche buns for the burgers. We're doing the diner burger that I've posted on
Yeah, saw that.
crier.co. Um, then Ashley's got these. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them, or Canadian staple called butter tarts. She's making.
We fucking might have heard of them.
She's got this amazing recipe for maple pecan butter tarts. The shells, the pastry shells they're razor thin rather than those big bulky ones where you don't get all like the filling gets kind of drowned out in the bread. But they hold up. They're not like crumbly. It's like she's a master. She's an absolute pastry master. So she's gonna have those there as well. And yeah, we're gonna have like just like a triple cooked garlic parmesan fry on the side if you want.
So you have the menu lined up. Have you got a chance to look at some in the military? We call it recce, reconnaissance. Check out the food truck, see what's in it. Are you equipped to cook all the things you want to do that day?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we have everything. Yeah, we went down. We were there on Sunday actually. We went down to go scope the truck out. I was there with my brother-in-law and with Ashley and Dean.
Yeah.
We went and we met with Afram Pristine, who is the youngest, by the way. This is the coolest part about coming there is not coming for the event. I swear to God, if you've never been, the coolest part for you coming is that place. The Cheese Boutique is the fucking coolest place on the planet if you're a food guy.
Oh man, watch that video.
Yeah, watch our show when Dean and I did a good first already in there, and it was incredible. And so Afram was there, and Afram is the youngest. It's called a maître fromager, which is a cheese master. It's an actual thing in the world. He's also the only one, I believe, in Canada right now. And they have over, like, even from Canada, there's over 400 Canadian cheeses in the store. I can't remember if I think it's like 1,200 in total cheeses. 12,000 items in their grocery. It's insane the shit they do. They have a fresh butcher shop where their beef is there's not a piece of beef in there that they will sell that is under 40 days dry aged. It's incredible. Like the place is phenomenal. So yeah, just come for that alone. I don't care if you buy a burger or not. Just come down and check out the store. It's insane. I can't hear Chris.
Chris, I think you're muted, dude.
Yeah, that's gonna make for great audio.
Yeah,
later.
great video there. Maybe I don't want you there for
the first time I saw the video, as I said to you, I thought it was like 5 different locations, and you're like, no, this is all the same place.
Yeah, it's the same place, but it's all, and they have different buildings. Like they even have a fishmonger there, which is
unbelievable.
Across the road, they've partnered with a company called Hooked. And they're gonna actually, that's another thing we find out. They possibly might be setting up an oyster table at the event, so you can have like an oyster tasting.
See, I'll eat the flight now. You got to stop.
I was gonna say, yeah, you've sold me.
Flight.
Just book me, Kay. Can I stay on somebody's couch, please?
Yeah, we got lots of room here, man.
I'm the cheese guy. I watched that content the other day, man. That cheese boutique is absolutely amazing.
They're insane. Dude, the flavor, like the smell. You walk in, it's like old European market vibe. It's the people are, and you say this, every single person in there is happy to be there. Like everybody that's working there is a happy employee. It's a family vibe. Like everybody is so nice and like when we were there, we got there at 10. We could have had everything wrapped in an hour that we needed to do. We didn't leave until 2:30.
Well, why would you?
Yeah,
why
because
would you leave?
You don't want to.
Yeah, around that kind of knowledge alone.
Yeah. Roll tape and then go to your shopping. Pick up all your stuff, because it sounds like one-stop shop. If you want to do a wicked meal, you know, that night, you could get all the nice high-end food, your produce, your dairy, your meats, everything you needed right there, and then boom, take
And
it
it's
home.
not priced out of this world either. That's the one thing that
Yeah,
that
because
I
when you say
love.
boutique, that
You
means
he-
dollar
yeah,
signs to
you
most people.
hear and it's not. And that's the funny part, because you walk in and you're like, "Oh, this is just like going to a farmer's market." And it really is, but it's all quality shit. Like everything in that store has been somebody has painstakingly looked at. Like I was having a chat with one of the actual guys from management there, Alex, the one that's actually helping us set everything up, and
Yeah,
he's been our conduit the entire time. And he was telling us a story. I'm not going to bring up any names because it's kind of I would feel bad. It was a product that they were carrying that they no longer were going to carry, and they had to actually like console the guy when they told him, because he was so sad and upset that they were no longer going to carry. And it was just a business decision. It was nothing personal or anything. It was just a business decision. They had to hug the guy because he was so mad and well, not like upset that he was leaving. His brand was leaving the cheese boutique. That's the kind of place like people are clamoring to get their stuff into, right? So being there is a super privilege for us. They've been
sure.
great friends
For
of the
your
network.
for your launch, for lack of a better term, well, I guess
Yeah.
that's what it's called, to launch your pod,
Yeah.
and because obviously you want to make an impact in the community in the GTA to catapult you or springboard you further to do other work.
Yeah, Ashley makes a good point too. And I'm not saying they don't have high end stuff. There was a bottle of balsamic vinegar that is maybe 75 milliliters big that was $2,500, and they have an entire shelf full of it.
Well,
So
you
I
need
don't.
that. Wow, what's the security like in that fucking building?
It's, it, dude. The best part, that's as soon as you walk in the front door. It's right at the door. Like I was like,
Wow.
why aren't there dogs here? Why is this not behind glass? And it's just
Well, it's
sitting on a shelf. You can just grab it and go. And
sure.
yeah,
And as
no
soon
big.
as the Leafs get knocked out in the first round, all those guys will be down there buying shit for their barbecue.
that's it. Well, they got to get ready. They're
I had
going
to
to have
get that in. I had to get that in.
They'll have the hand up because they'll have time to get ready. Right? They got all spring to prep their cooking game. It's going to
Right.
be
So
great.
so basically they provide a scale of from your average basic affordable shit all the way to high end and
Yeah,
somewhere in between if you're looking for something specific.
yeah, everything. There's and like I say, from your everyday cheeses and whatever. Their deli counter is huge, and it's full of
Yeah.
really good artisan meats and cheese, like obviously cheese. But just off to the side is they have a cheese, it's called the vault. And you can go into the cheese vault and you can actually see where there's over $1 million of cheese in this vault that is not very big. So like this is just high quality stuff. Ben Affleck has an entire 900-pound tube. I don't even know how to call what you'd call it. Like a chub, like a chub, you get a chub of cheese, but 900 pounds. It's suspended from the ceiling.
Well, I know what a chub is, but
this is
anyway.
over like 10 feet tall and about like 2 feet around. It's in the show if you watch. The actual,
he keeps his cheese there. It's like a bank for people's cheese
because it's got to age for 15 years for it to be proper, and it's been there for 7. And yeah, there's other people's cheese in there. There's
like
a lot of Leafs have their shit.
Get divorced. Does she get like half his cheese?
Half the cheese. That's what I was wondering. That's actually we asked.
Did you ask that question? Because it feels like she would.
And they can't answer because they don't know their prenup agreement. But
yeah, I guess it's a prenup. You don't get any of my fucking cheese. You can have
that cheese in half.
They got professionals looking after all that.
Don't touch my cheese.
Pre-ordered, pre-designed.
Or maybe she doesn't know he's got that cheese hidden away in Canada, so she can't.
There's a and the coolest. There's a wheel of something. They won't tell you what, but there is a wheel of, and I guess it's because of who she is now. But there's a wheel of a certain type of cheese somewhere in the vault, and it's the only people that know whose it is would be like Afram and his dad probably, but it's Meghan Markle's, the Prince Harry's wife, right? So,
oh wow,
yeah, they actually have one because she's from Toronto, right? So I guess it was there before all that happened, and it's still there now. So yeah, it's like the stories behind this place are insane.
If you don't do a prenup, you do what we do in our world. Okay. And Morgan, you know what I mean. It's like motorcycles. Before you get divorced, sign all your cheese over to your buddy. Get
Yeah.
all that cheese in your buddy's name. Or that bitch is gonna take your fucking cheese, man. Sign your bikes over to your buddy so your soon to be ex-wife doesn't take your shit. Sign
All
that
right.
cheese over.
I've taken half an hour of your show.
It's okay. So I
Keep
just bring up
rolling. April 1st and 2nd, we'll see you down there,
April
45
1st and
Ripley
2nd.
Avenue.
So you're gonna be cooking down at that food truck.
Yeah.
And then so the plan forward for every pod, are you gonna try to do this weekly, monthly, or
Oh
like
God, there's no.
you can't even put a frequency on
You
it.
can't, just because of the idea behind it. There's a lot of production that's going to go into it.
Production.
We're going to be going up north. Yeah, we're going to be going up north. We're going to be going like I've got a real estate agent, a friend of mine that's on Instagram that sent me a list saying I've got contacts in all these restaurants, and these are all like staples that have been around for decades up in like the Muskokas and the Halliburtons.
Yeah.
So the scene, you just imagine the scenery. Like I'm already seeing the show in my head that I want to produce. So I'm so stoked to be up doing this year.
That's
it's going to be so much fun.
That is awesome. The Get Sauce podcast with Ryan Lindley, not debuting, being live on location.
Yeah.
1st and 2nd April till it's sold out. And I'll put all the details down below. Not that everybody watching or listening doesn't know that because it's the same group. But we'll put all that stuff in the details in the YouTube page and on all our socials. And yeah, so do you want to stick around or you got to go?
Yeah, no, I'll stick around as long as I can.
Okay, we're gonna do a. Let me tell you
about the MREs.
Well, we're gonna get to that. I want to tell you about the live on location at Namaste, India, just down the road. So JT, who's normally part of this part of my show, and Dave, you met Dave. These guys love fucking hot food, and they will take any challenge you throw in front of them when it comes to spicy food. Now, I don't know what everybody else's level is for spice. Mine is not so good. Morgan, how's yours? How can you handle the heat?
No, I mean, I like a bit of spice. I like a bit of heat, but I'm more of a flavor guy than, just start crying and snot coming out of my nose guy. Like that's not enjoyable for me. But I do enjoy a bit of heat, like in the proper way, right? But yeah,
sure. Like Frank's red and maybe a little bit higher. And there's a couple other guys, another friend of mine, Corey, he can handle the heat. I bought a bottle of this Carolina Reaper pepper sauce at the farmer's market, and they were just dumping it on crackers and smashing it to see how much they could take. But anyways, JT and Dave have been talking about since this restaurant opened up, and it's just in this little strip mall. And I got to tell you, some of the best food I've ever eaten, and we'll kind of get into this in a bit, have been in these shitty little hole-in-the-wall fucking places where it doesn't look glamorous, high-end, exotic. It doesn't have that look to it. And it is off the chain. So we've been going there kind of once a week for the last few months. And JT and Dave wanted to do a Vindaloo challenge. Now, I'll explain Vindaloo in the video. I'm not going to get into it here, but it's considered one of the spiciest curries. So we went in. I rolled the whole video on how it progresses. And then I decided in my infinite fucking wisdom to try something. And I'll show you how it turned out for me. So you enjoy this. Okay, I'm actually going to try this out. I'm going to regret this because like I told you guys before, I'm pretty lightweight on it. So.
Did you want a piece of beef or you just want to try something?
No, I'm just going to try a little spritz of this. So here we go.
It's not going to hit you right away, but it's going to creep.
Oh.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Holy man.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is nuclear. Yeah.
We'll be back. So
that's my guy. That's my guy.
That went well. To be fair, it does come down.
That's my guy.
That went well. To be fair, it does come down. What is going on with my computer? I'm echoing.
What's going on there?
Now we're all right now. Yeah, it did. The heat did come down.
Okay.
But man, I got to tell you. And then if you watch the whole, somebody's echoing. That's weird. Buddy comes out later in the video, and I said, "Okay, you guys have been laughing at these white guys that are eating this stuff out there because nobody's gonna eat this shit. But the next time we go, he's gonna use their own stuff." Whatever. Watch the fucking pod and see the whole story. So that went well.
I'm with you on the flavor. Like you guys, when you say you like the heat, but it has to have flavor. If it's just heat and it's offensive, like who the fuck wants it? Like,
and we talked about that because it's like I've been to these suicide wing challenges where it just completely numbs your face. There's no flavor. It's just boom, your lips are burnt.
Yeah.
That has got flavorful heat that builds. It takes in a minute, and then you're there, and then it comes back down. And I didn't have milk or yogurt or anything, ice cream in the background. It did come back down. I fucking wish I did. Won't lie.
No shit.
There's no way I could have ate as much as they did. If you watch it, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think what we should do here, we haven't done this in a while, is this segment's called Ask an Army Guy. And since we got Ryan on, who's a food guy, you can ask us anything you want about military food, albeit on base, in the field, or where we've been on leave, like exotic places, in the whatever you want.
It's funny. I'm glad I get the opportunity because I've had this thought where, you always have the thought, oh, if I get stuck, like if I was ever lost in the woods, what the hell am I going to do with a squirrel or a rabbit without, slow roasting it and getting some sort of a reduction happening? How am I going to? So what I want to know is when you're stuck, and I know on bases they usually they kind of kit you guys out well with certain things depending on how long you're there and how long they're planning on being there. Like there might be some more options for you guys on that. But when it comes to like when you're actually out in a theater on your own, you're packing your meals for weeks on end. What was your favorite one? Like what was the one thing you're like, this all kind of sucks, but this one's not bad?
Well, that's a great question. I'm going to let the sniper start.
I don't know. I'm not that particular. I mean, they were all equally shitty. You don't remember the good ones. You remember the ones that were like terrible, like ham steak and mushroom sauce. Fucking garbage. Like I was never ever hungry enough to eat it. That's how shitty it was. Like when you're packing, like you.
I'm not dying yet.
Like no, like or you got like 72 hours worth of rations, so you got 9 rations, and you're like, oh well, guess I got 8 now, and you chuck it. You would it wasn't even worth carrying because you're like, I will not need those calories. Fuck it. Like,
all right.
So the rations. Some people think that like as Canadians, we've got our Canadian rations, and Americans have their MREs, and the French and the British and everybody have their own shit. Was that?
I'm not talking. I don't know why I'm so.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So, and a lot of Canadian soldiers would like, oh, the American MREs are so much better than the Canadian ones. And it's not so much that the American ones are better than the Canadian ones. It's just, variety is the spice of life. And if you're used to eating the same, like 20, meal packs, and then an American comes along and says, hey, do you want to trade? It's a godsend because you've been eating all the same shit for the last 6 months. So if somebody gives you something different, you're like, oh, this is amazing. So, I didn't think the American ones were particularly better than the ones or vice versa. The only thing I will say about the American ones that were better is their packaging. Their packaging was much better.
Well, they're more fortified too.
Away, there was less garbage, less trash.
So that's a great question.
They also had hot sauce.
They did. You got a little bottle of Louisiana hot sauce.
Yeah. Or Tabasco sometimes, yeah.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
I've eaten worth of stuff, and I'll tell you the fucking best and the worst. I still think the American MREs are the best. They had a jambalaya. That is the best MRE, meal ready to eat, American stuff that on my second.
American stuff, they might have been called Mexican MREs because it seemed like it was just all Tex-Mex shit. Like,
fine. I was happy with that because I'll tell you what, this is probably before everybody's time. We had some really interesting ones, man. When I first joined the Army in the 80s, late 80s, And it was mac and cheese, which you think sounds good. And the Canadian one is called IMPs, individual meal packets.
Okay.
Well, we called them improvised meal packets. And it was fucking mac and cheese, but there was peas in it. And it was just this glob of shit after you heated it up, boil in a bag stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they're fucking expensive. You know, they're like $40 a piece.
Yeah.
And the second one, we called it lung in a bag. It was the ham omelet.
Yeah.
And it came, no, it was called the lung, man. You guys know what I mean with the lung.
Yeah. It was
So you
so
boil
good. A
this
little
thing
bit of
up,
Tabasco sauce.
and you
Oh,
dump it
perfect.
out, and it looked like a fucking lung. And it was the most disgusting shit ever made. And you got this weird fake bread. There'd be a pack of chiclets, and we play a game called chiclets because inside this little 2-pack of chiclets, like you used to get at Halloween, there's a number on it. And whoever had the highest number would get everybody else's chiclets.
That's cool.
Some strawberry cake, pound cake dessert. Like, it was just fucking, it's like Morgan said, like, how hungry am I?
This sounds like something that would have gone over well on like the that Alton Brown food show, the chef show where you had to like the Cutthroat Kitchen or whatever it's called.
Cutthroat Kitchen, where he gives you some shit.
Yeah, you got to make something good out of it. I would totally like to see that with these.
So when I ran a gun detachment long before I was in bomb disposal, and we would do that. I'd take all the IMPs, and we would find a guy who could cook. And I wasn't a good cook back then. This is before I got into cooking. And it was like, hey, you need to take all this plus whatever we brought with us, because we'd have a box of spices and stuff to try to fucking take that and turn it into something good. And I'd say it's about 50-50 as to whether that worked or not.
Okay.
Yeah, but
what about you, Bryce? Did you have any memories, special memories of anything horrible?
Oh man, I was a trucker, so if there wasn't a place that had fresh rats, yes, there was stuff to be eaten, but most of the vehicles that I had a fridge in it, to be honest. So there was always extra Pop-Tarts and muffins and Red Bulls and stuff like that to get you through.
Yeah.
And if the camp didn't have decent food, you just hit the salad bar and grab some fruit, because there was always something like that around. So
fuck you, Bryce.
There was nothing really that I know. Sorry. I had knee surgery when I was 16, so I couldn't be a combat arm. So I had to be a trucker. So I could be in and out from those fobs and then just bring everything needed to the front lines and then go back right to where I needed.
He took all the good shit and okay, we're keeping this.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys, take the rest.
No, I never. That was one thing. What? The supply techs before I got those loads were the guys.
That's true. There's a it's like the mafia, man. Everybody takes their cut, and then the guys down in the trenches get what's left over, but all the good shit's gone.
Oh yeah, like, I was that fucking guy.
As much
in the trench at the end of the line, I got nothing.
We can bitch about these rations. There was a time I was sent out to a Hungarian provincial reconstruction team in butt-fuck northern Afghanistan, nowhere. And these guys in the camp only ate one fresh meal a day, right? And it was like right out of a movie. Plop a plate of gruel, plop some cabbage, something that's looked like represented gray colored gravy. And that wasn't the worst part. So their ration packs were a big box for the day. And it was like these big tins of congealed
stuff,
meat, like pate or something, and these crackers.
It sounds like cat food, dude.
Buddy,
it's not that
like cat food, man. And I said, so you get 3 of these a day? They're like, no, this is what we get for the whole fucking day. I'm going, holy shit, man. It was fucking, and it tasted like nothing.
Literal
like salt.
Dog food.
Like
That's
salt.
crazy.
It tastes like that. I wouldn't give my dogs that shit.
What they have on the base for you guys over there? Did they have anything?
It was themed. Every night had a different theme, dude. So it was either seafood, steak. It could be a different protein, shrimp, depending on what patrol base or what. Like if you were in the hard Air Force base in CAF, you had several options. You could go to the British camp. You could go to one of 3 American kitchens, or there was 2 or 3 Canadian ones. Or you could go down to the boardwalk and get Burger King, Subway, Tim Hortons, or depending if you were out. And most of the guys that were truckers were on the road 24 hours a day. So you could hit 2 or 3 patrol bases or different areas for that matter.
This is great information, Bryce. I did not know this was a fucking thing.
How did that work?
May have differed for us in
$100%.
Afghanistan.
100%. Yeah. Where some days you guys were living on hard rats, I would have dropped off supplies and ammo and whatever else to a basic patrol base. I could have been in 1 or 2, if not 3 or 4 locations. And then if something else would have gone off, as a trucker, we were also tasked to go and pick up anything that got blown up after the fact. So,
and then you get back to Kandahar Airfield and you're like, are we having fucking lobster again?
We're having ice cream.
How did that work with those chain restaurants when the chains were there? You had to pay for that yourself? Or?
Yeah.
So, and they were brought in by a sea container, dude.
So America, this is primarily American driven. The only thing Canada had over there was Tim's. That's it, which was a big hit, right?
Right, of course.
Yeah.
But America, 2 bases I've been to there was Bagram Airfield, and obviously they were also in Kandahar Airfield, but their main base was Bagram Airfield up north.
Yeah.
And they bring in Popeye's chicken. That's the first time I ever had Popeye's chicken, was on the boardwalk in Bagram. I had to go up there, and I'm like, what the fuck's this? Because the DFAC, or the normal mess hall we would go to, is closed, so I had no choice.
Yeah.
And they were closing, and it was this large Southern woman. I said, can I get some chicken? And she's like, I got to get rid of all this shit. She gave me like a fucking garbage can lid of this fried chicken. I'm like, I just won the lottery, man. But they had Burger King, Subway, they had Popeyes. They brought in a TGIF's and built like a TGIF's restaurant.
Wow.
That was in Calf, man.
Yeah.
So what do they? So is it at least discounted for you guys?
No.
Or
it was, and only American dollar bills.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So everything.
But I mean, it's an option. If you get sick of the food, I'll say this before we go further with the chains. I will say, hand on my heart, that I think that Canadian cooks that have the opportunity to cook for you, whether it's a flying kitchen, hence the name of my my other pod, if you want to call it that. It's called a field kitchen. We call it a flying kitchen.
Okay.
Go out of their way to give us the best possible food that they can.
Of course.
Is that always possible when you're mass amounts and you have a supply chain problem of getting this and this and this and this in? I don't think that the troops understand that when they're bitching about food in the mess halls overseas, that there's often supply chain issues. But like Bryce alluded to in Kandahar Airfield, the big mega base, the support base, because you had so many different countries there, you had so many options for the type of cuisine you wanted to eat. Like, wasn't there a fucking Thai, Asian themed one there?
Yeah, I think it was by the Brits or the. I know there was one.
I don't know where it was.
Yeah,
but I mean, like the
best.
There's a couple
had a curry shop for sure.
Yeah,
there was a couple you avoided, but
yeah.
But
I mean, it was all subcontracted to like companies like KBR. 100%. And I've been to a few small American bases where they had KBR in, and they ate like fucking kings. There's chili and soup on 24 hours a day. So if you want to go and get chili on a bun if you're hungry, you can. And our
that's
special
really the story behind the industrial machine, isn't it? Like how commercialized they could even do that part. Like how they could just make money somehow else. And
it's huge, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
you know,
if you're in logistics,
what's that? Sorry,
anything in war. If you could offer any kind of support logistically, man, the government will soak it up.
I'll agree with what Chris said. Though
Cheney owns everything.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and I'll agree with what you said, Chris. Like, despite if you were in Kandahar Airfield or in Bagram, like you had a lot of selection. I found the food to be still mediocre. But I found when you get out to some small, like in Kandahar province, if you were out in like places like smaller places like Spurwingar or Fob Wilson, and it was just Canadian cooks, I found the quality of food out there was better. There were just, I guess, the preparation that went into it, because you probably have like, half a dozen cooks, and it was a small area. So like, you knew the cooks, they knew you. So they actually took pride in what they were doing, because they knew like you were just a firefight. You had the shittiest day of your life. And these cooks are like, they understood like the effect that they had on morale and the importance of their job.
Huge. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Navy, all trades, Navy cooks are amazing, because they're stuck on that boat and they'll get thrown overboard if that food is shit.
Yeah.
Army cooks know the boys are coming in from a long day, if they're coming in at all that week. Yeah. And I found the food in Camp Nathan Smith in Kandahar City, where I was, 80% exceptional. There was nothing to complain about to me.
There really wasn't.
I'll cap my Ask an Army Guy with one last question, and you guys can go name of my show around the horn on this as well, if you could indulge me. What about actual food from the country you're in? Would you eat there?
I'll answer. I'm going to take that one. So in 2008, we spent a lot of time. I know. We spent a lot of time out in Panjway, and we were like west of Spurwingara. Spurwingara was a small place, and we were in these small combat outposts, and we'd be paired up with like a platoon of Afghan National Army. These Afghan National Army guys would go out on the economy, and they'd buy like a bag of rice, some live chickens, a goat, and like they'd slaughter the thing like right in front of you. And they buy like tomato, and so I'd say the reddest, freshest tomatoes I ever were in it was in Afghanistan. Green onions, watermelons, all kinds of crazy shit. And these guys would cook it up, and you'd sit around in a giant circle, and it'd all be on platters, and they'd make their bread and everything fresh, and you just eat. Now, some guys were like absolutely opposed to this, and they're like, "This isn't sanitary," blah blah. And I'm just like, "That's fresh food." I just watched them kill that chicken, slaughter that goat. I was like, and it tastes fabulous. And it was excellent. I never ever had it. And then in 2012, when I was in like way up north of Mazar-e Sharif, so like about 100 miles south of Uzbekistan, same place. Like the Afghans would invite us out to eat their local food, and every opportunity I had, I took advantage of it. And I haven't got a single complaint. I never ever got sick. Nothing like that, and it was absolutely amazing.
That is awesome. Like that's my dream as a guy that is a pussy ass coward and just likes to cook food. My dream would be just the cook's tour of the places that you guys have gone to, and it's just it's incredible. That's awesome. Good to hear.
To echo Morgan's comments, I did the same thing on both tours in Afghanistan. Every opportunity, which we were not allowed to do, by the way.
No.
The preventative PMed or preventative medicine technician, there's this big, you're not allowed to eat the local food. I'm like, fuck you, man. And we ate the local food. I had Mazar-e Sharif was actually the first place I had kebabs, and they were great. And I ate in Kabul. I ate in Kandahar City. On both those tours. Bosnia, same thing. Well, Bosnia was different because I had to eat on the economy because of my job, and they gave me allowance. I rarely saw a Canadian or a NATO kitchen, so they gave us an allowance because of what we were doing at that time,
right? And
obviously Cyprus. So yeah, every opportunity I got, I would take it. The funniest one was we'd rolled out in Afghanistan early in the morning before the kitchen was open. So we have our standard shitty ass rations in our truck or bags of jerky and peanuts. And I'd rolled up, and it was an IED. So the first thing you do on an IED is you put in a cord and clear out the area. And this is in the city. So you have to close up all the shops. The shops at this time of the morning are just opening. And at the back near the incident control point where we were parked, which is about 300 meters from the bomb, this guy had just hung out all this fresh naan bread. And naan bread over there is about 4 feet long. Imagine Jimmy's height, but not his weight. And you could smell it. And I'm like,
Jimmy has now become a unit of measure, right?
Yeah.
Just like Jimmy.
Fucking starving. And I'm like, we always carry cash over there, right? American cash. And I pulled out a 20 and I said to one of the dudes on the quick reaction force, go buy all of that bread. this guy needs to close shop. So buddy went over there, gave him 20 US, and like this guy he's shut down for the rest of the week. He's done.
For sure.
So the dude comes back. I do have a picture of it somewhere with like all of this guy's naan bread. The steam's still coming off it. And we're just ripping hunks off and handing it out to everybody.
Oh,
so that's how you'd eat on the fly, man. It's like, hey, what's that guy selling? Now there's flies on it. Fuck him. What's he got? Don't be afraid to try. I guess the moral of the story is do not be afraid wherever you guys are that are watching or listening to this thing later. You don't have to don't be an American and go to Burger King and Subway and Pizza Hut while you're in Europe. Or even in like Southeast Asia, wherever, like fucking experience that food. That's the point.
Well, Bryce, you were in transport, right? So you got to go to a lot of places. Did you get an opportunity to like stop off at like a roadie hut somewhere, or like you said, like one of these shops that's just on the side of the road, or a grill?
Oh, there was a couple convoys that they were just pulled to the side, and we all got street meat of some kind.
Oh yeah.
Nice. I know in Bosnia it was the same way. It was in Croatia it was always off of local, and I'd go back and eat that food in a heartbeat because it was just the freshest out there. It's so good when there's no process, when everything is killed in the field right there, brought and hacked in, and then packed out to you, cooked right there. It's amazing.
Yeah, something from that farm to table freshness.
Yeah, exactly.
Even across the other side of the world, it always just adds that to it. Somebody put a comment in earlier, and it's true. Food and music could really unite the world. And Anthony Bourdain
maybe a little smoke
perfectly at one point, and he said, "Barbecue may not be the answer to world peace, but it sure is a fucking start."
It's a good start.
Absolutely. Every culture has it, right? So that's awesome. Thank you, boys.
Thank you for joining us, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we got to do this again. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks to Ryan Lindley again. He's April 1st and 2nd live on. Plug out everything, location, everything one more time for everybody.
April 1st and 2nd at the Cheese Boutique, or sorry, it's just Cheese Boutique. They get mad when you put the. So Cheese Boutique, 45 Ripley Avenue in Toronto, Ontario, starting at 11 a.m. until we sell out.
That won't take long.
It won't take long. We do have a lot. Don't get me wrong. We did put in a big order and by the way, all the food you're going to eat there comes from Cheese Boutique. We've ordered everything from them. So all the things I was telling you about, the 40-day age beefs and the P meals, all that stuff is coming from Cheese Boutique. So you're in for a treat, I promise. And we're not there to make $1 million. It's not like you're coming here and getting hosed. It's going to be very, very fairly priced. As it is a promotional thing. So we just want to see you out there. We want you to come enjoy us, meet some of the Crier personalities. I heard Marianne Iveson from Let's Take This Outside will be there. Dean Blundell should be there. Ray Rout will be there, I believe, at some point. Myself, my wife. It's gonna be a big one. So be there. April 1st. I might
be there.
And Chris, hopefully, from Fire from Effect podcast, will be there as well.
We're working it out.
Yeah. So, I hope to see you guys. And thank you very much for having me.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. We'll chat soon.
Take care, guys.
There you go. Ryan Lindley from Get Sauce Podcast. And if you like satire, I would suggest you check out the Lynn's Report. Wow, that was interesting. Food talk. We haven't done that in a while. Instead of talking about bombs and bullets. So I appreciate that. Mr. Morgan Warren, Mr. Bryce Hooper. I want to thank everybody who tuned in and watched today. Sorry, I'm shitty at running the board by myself. Working on that too. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to wrap this bitch up because I need a dart and another beer. So Fire for Effect Live, brought to you by Crier Media. Go to criermedia.co and check out all kinds of zany shit, sports, news, and all these wonderful podcasts. Also brought to you by Positive Mike's Brewing Company. You can get the gear. I can get the beer. I know me and Mike are working on a reload. I'm sure he's got a fresh brew coming up soon. Check out Positive Mike on all the socials if you're looking for some cool swag. Also brought to you the good folks at Lakeside Farmstead, owned and operated by the None family. I just bombed up with some fresh Wagyu cross. Actually, it's like an entire rib loin. And I made, if you checked out my Instagram the other night, I made like a 3-inch thick Wagyu cross ribeye to celebrate my birthday. And we had a good time. And we're also brought to you by not Mr. Hooper Inc., above your service, but I'm waiting for Bryce to send me a new fucking logo, but he hasn't. So thanks for joining in. Sorry we didn't get to all your comments. I will endeavor to do better next time. Until then, everybody have a good one, and we are out of here.